Hey everyone. Let's try and make it easier to see. Oh, this is pretty bright. It bubbles. No, no bubbles. No bubbles. Yeah, there we go. How's everyone doing? Everyone's doing well. So I decided to just get on here with you guys and basically just sort of sit here with you guys and let you pick my brain a bit, and also well, if anybody's coming in, for the live. Um, but we have a pretty nice day here. So I'm gonna hang out with you guys. Probably do some stretches, some various things. Yeah, if any of you guys want to pick my brain a bit, ask me about anything, curious about anything. Um, if you ask about the style, the easiest way to say it is just that it's traditional kung fu. Animal styles are pretty much everything you can think of. Yeah, it is a nice day. Sure is nice. But like I said, I'll let you guys pick my brain a bit. Ask me anything you want. Martial arts related, obviously. If you have questions. Um, but anyway, also to just sit here and do some stuff. Might just do some stretches and get myself a little uh, warmed up a bit. Not that I need to on this beautiful day, right? It's nice and warm out here already. 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 Man, it is beautiful. Just what's going on, everyone? What's up, guys? What's up? Remember, you can ask me whatever you want. Pick my brain. I've been doing martial arts a long time. So, I mean, you just want to ask me some questions about that? Feel free. Like anything about, martial arts, really. Um, I'm not, I don't watch, like, sport martial arts. I don't really watch that stuff. So if you ask me about sport martial arts, I'm gonna tell you about practicality and things like that. Like, just I'm gonna speak probably about that and um, stuff like that. But if you want to ask me about like martial arts, like in general, then yeah, I'd love that. Um, but I mean, you can ask me a little bit about that other stuff too. I'm just not gonna. I don't watch it, so. All right, let's I'm gonna do a few stretches here. Let's see some people cycling in and out here and there. I see some people cycling in and out here and there. All right, so hopefully that. Just and just start doing stretches. Like I said, if you guys want to ask me anything about martial arts, I'm here. I'm just gonna start doing stretches for now. I see a few cycling in and out. That's awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. You guys are awesome. So, in case you're wondering, the stretch I'm doing, we used to, way back when I was just a student, back in my high school days, back when I was a teenager, learning kung fu. I did Tang Soo Do before that, and decided that I didn't like it, and it was too easy, and so I wanted to do kung fu and learn like the whole picture, like everything. And so I did. And found a good school. And when I way back when I was like a student there, we used to call these cobra stretches, was what we called them. I guess it kind of makes sense. But yeah, really, it's stretching in there, and then the outside of the hip, you'll feel it. So basically, the leg goes behind, and you get up on the knee, sort of, and then the weight should be on this leg here, not on the floor. And then you just sort of kind of lean forward. I mean, you really have your weight on your arms, but you're leaning forward, putting it on here, so that way it stretches that. I like to put my heel up and then bend my toes in, because the stretch is sort of easy for me. So like I try to really, really get it in there. And obviously I'll put my chest to the floor too. But yeah, I want to pull my toes back, really get that stretch. Hope everyone's well. Hey everyone, pick my brain if you want. So, I guess we could start with basic things. What I want to reiterate to you guys is that essentially I won't be putting my system on the internet, okay? I want to really reiterate that and get that out there, that I'm not going to be putting my complete knowledge, my forums, all this stuff on the internet for people to just have and take and do what they want with, and misinterpret, and all kinds of stuff. That is something you must learn from me, and that's it. Actual instruction. That's the only way you're going to get that. So what the question then becomes, what do we talk about for content? Well, there's actually quite a lot. So one of the things I want to start talking about is there seems to be this misconception that sport martial artists have, and that's because they do sport martial arts all the time, that there's just certain movements, certain strikes that aren't effective. And I want to clear that up a bit. I want to talk about why and spend some time making some content about that because, as we talked about before, certain podcaster uh, who was a fighter, MMA, I guess, right? UFC, right? Like I said, I don't really watch it. I just know he was a fighter, and I watched the clip, and we all talked about this before about how I thought it was really disrespectful what he said. He was picking the very obvious fake clips of the guys that didn't know what they were doing, pretending like, and then also elaborating, trying to say and add to the fact that, oh, see, this is why all of kung fu and all of the Chinese martial arts is bad. Basically, just saying they're all phonies and stuff, and it's just not true. Just because that guy and a bunch of idiots made a video, tried to, pretending to be this or that, doesn't mean it's all fake. It just means you're choosing that, the obvious fake one, the obvious ridiculous one. And so that's why I have to question that person's martial arts knowledge and look at it as being very limited. And it's not to be disrespectful. It's not. But I really was upset that he decided to go that route, because I don't think he's like necessarily like the worst or anything like that. He probably knows what he's doing with certain things, but um, I'll be honest. It's the sort of thing where, like, even if you knew a little bit, you'd kind of know. I don't know. Those guys look like phonies. It's kind of obvious. So anyway, I want to clear some stuff up and show you guys how, like, actually, like, some of the stuff works. Some of the strikes that you might think don't really have much of a purpose actually do, and why we would do them. So let's talk a little bit about that theory in today's video. Let's see if we have. Oh yeah, you're fine. Just don't type all caps. You're fine though. You're not like. It says you're only timed out for 5 seconds, so you're fine. Appreciate you. Joe H. Joe H. You're fine. You're fine. I don't know why. I guess all caps. So just try not to do all caps, and you should be good. I don't know. Yeah, just sort of. If that's my mod. It's an auto mod, so it'll do various things to help moderate. But I appreciate you. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the theory that we were just talking about. Basically, we have all these different strikes in kung fu and in martial arts that like other martial artists, they spend a lot of times, in sport using their fists, like fighting with fists. It's all about who get the hardest and stuff like that. And sure, like, if you have that skill, use it. Yeah, absolutely, make the whole thing about it. Comes, how do you add on to that? How do you even get better from that? Once you've mastered that, now how do you move on? So that was what Chinese boxing did. Instead of involving just the concepts of punching, it took animals and looked at various parts of animals and went, well, this looks like a crane wing. This looks like a crane's beak. This looks like a snake fang. This looks like a tiger claw. Now, how do they use it when they fight other animals and seek their prey? How do we use that strategic concept and apply it to ourselves? Okay? So that's what we've done in Kung Fu, and that's why it works, and that's why it's not ridiculous. So anyway, and it's also why, like, a Chinese martial artist or something like that, it wouldn't be ridiculous to think they could fight off a bear or something like that. That's why it wouldn't be ridiculous. Yeah, you wouldn't want to get hit a single time, sure. Sure. That's the point. So, anyway, As far as some of the awkward ones, we've talked about ridge hands. Didn't we talk about ridge hands yet? Um, so we've had some interesting strikes here where you might even see somebody actually hit with this part of their hand like this. And what they're going to do is they're going to hit like that or like that. There's also a couple of other different ways we can do this. Okay, we can come up right like this. It can even come down so that way you can come around. All right. What you have to understand about a strike like this is it's ridiculous because you'll get into situations where you'll need something like that. Does that make sense? If I can think about the amount of times I was sparring and I threw a punch or a hammer or something like that, and as I'm throwing this, yeah, it gets blocked and it's trapped. Okay. So now when I go to yank and pull this out, now what? Well, a lot of times if you just throw a punch, your elbow's too high. And if you punch them too low, it's just a rip shot. Who cares? But now suddenly, as I yank and pull away, if I can angle my body to the side, instead of throwing a punch where my arm has to be angled a certain way for it to hit, if I use this shift to elongate and just shift and move it all in one fluid motion and then angle my hand to a ridge, all of that is transferred into that hand and the momentum of pulling that person off too, straight into that strike. And you can even go back the other way. Boom, boom. So, yes, it takes a long time. Yes, it takes years of training. We've talked about ridge hands before. Let me get my target here. So we're talking about something kind of like this, where it just comes across right like that, and you're just hitting 1, 2, and then you can do it can come like this. You can do 2. You can do 1, 2. Okay. You can jam it where you come in. Oh, I love this. When I figured this out, I was on crane and I was so happy. I knew it existed. I was like, I know how to do this, but I didn't figure out how to do it till crane. Basically, I learned how to, when a strike comes in, basically I would duck down, do the duck, and then sort of just jam my ridge hand straight up into the, and it just sort of kind of jolts the person. And it's just like, man, I love this stuff. So again, it's sort of like that. Like you sort of kind of duck, ridge hand. And then you start understanding why a lot of stuff in Kung Fu ends up looking like that. Well, because you end up in awkward positions you gotta do something with. The point is, don't think simply because a fight never goes that way. Don't think punch, 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 kick, kick, kick. Because guess what? It's probably going to end up on the ground if your footwork sucks. So yeah, there's a lot of reasons to do, the stances, the long stances, the short stances, the shifting in and out of them, understanding what they're for. There's reasons for that. That's why, sparring a sport martial artist or something like that, you just wait for that one opportunity and you just knock them over. They're so easy to knock 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 over. This singular move because I see them all do this, and I have had a few of them do this to me, where they do this stupid thing where they bring the leg up and then they cock the hand, and I don't know why they do it, because I'm gonna literally just throw your back out if I block that. So like so the guy's doing the leg up to eye me up for this one punch thing that I see coming a mile away. So I let him think that he's gonna get it. I block low. I left my face open. I block low. I go like this again, and I dip back, make him think he's gonna get it. So the third time he goes for it, I watch his foot and I block low to let him think he's gonna get it. And the very moment that he goes to get it, I just come straight in for the elbow, right like that. And like literally just like, that's the point. That's why you saw me go down, because it's literally just, it's an elbow toss. Basically, that's your grappling in the martial arts, in the Chinese martial arts, that's your grappling. Essentially, a lot of times it comes from a strike where it's very targeted at like the neck or a certain point of leverage on the body, and then you just take it down. Now that one, because of the way he had his fist angled up, that's why I did that. Because by doing this elbow where I come straight down to the ground like that, that allows me to essentially follow him to the ground and not let him like trap my legs or something like that. But yeah, that's the point. I wasn't gonna land on this thing, so. But yeah, anyway. If you just want to do it while standing, you just basically just do a leg check. So instead of like when the knee comes in blocking low to fake, I just did that for the fake. You don't need to do that. What you're going to want to do is when you block low, just bring the leg up and throw the elbow down. Essentially all you have to do is bring the knee up straight into the hip. But you could do it that way. If you're gonna do it that way, learn your break falls though. Learn these. Okay? Learn those. They should look pretty much right like that. And you should be able to do them both ways. Okay? And you should be able to do them back too. And you should be able to do them forward. Okay? Man, no questions yet? All right. So, a couple of things also that we can use ridge hands for are very specific, like jamming strikes. You can also use chops. So like a lot of times, if somebody's trying to grab you, if you simply cup the arm and come in with a chop or an elbow, you can get them off balance and then go for the hip toss. I know it's not the best thing to be trying to show you guys on, but you get the idea. Cupping that hand, coming through the middle. If they have both hands on you, you come through the middle, grab the back of the head, and then you just step through. Um, if you don't know how to do a hip toss, I wish I had somebody in front of me. You just step behind them. The hip should match the hip, okay? So what this is used for a lot of times is if somebody wants to do one of these where they trap your arm and they're trying to fall and throw. It's very, very common. So what I like to do is just sort of step right through because my arm's already across. They try to throw, I just literally bump I check the leg as they try to throw. I check the leg and sort of kind of go with it and then root and then hip. And then you can boom. You can do cool stuff if you want. There we go. Mortal Kombat. Yeah, that was a little Mortal Kombat. All right. So anyway. Oh, what should we? What to do next? We did ridge hands. Chops are cool. What I'd say with chops is just understand that they're not. This isn't really a finisher. Like this. It's. Yes, this a lot of times can really, really knock the person back, get them off balance. Now, for the people for the masters that know the conditioning, see it was falling already, and know how to essentially make that look easy, but then at the same time just drop somebody. Well, you'll be fine. But for everybody else, a lot of times this is followed up by something. So like, yes, you'll see that chop down, but I mean, it's followed up by something. It's the sort of thing where you don't just assume, well, that's gonna work. No. Like, what did you do first? Where are you doing it? An elbow, yeah, all right. This one, yeah. Yep, that one, yes. Almost anywhere too. Now with chopping, what I like to do with chopping is transition to palm strikes, because palm strikes are so effective if you know how to use them. A lot of people think it's like, I'm pushing you. Oh, that's cheap. It's not that. A palm strike is a strike, and it's practiced, and a lot of times, it's a flurry. I can't even get to it before the thing falls over. It's a flurry where, it's like Ip Man, where he does the chain punches. A lot of times it starts off with the chops, and it will end up with punches. So a lot of times what you want to see is a lot of these, and then you can finish off with something cool. I like to cover the face with palm strikes. Snake teaches you how to hide your strikes. So with Kung Fu, what you learn is there's concepts hidden all throughout. It's sort of like Snake teaches you how to hide your strikes. Tiger teaches you how to be aggressive and essentially utilize your you're just a series of strikes, as many as you can, manifest in the most aggressive nature that you can, but then do it in a way that actually works. That's executed well. That's looks good. So Tiger takes a while. With Crane is more about, yes, it's definitely kicking and long strikes. In Crane, the amount of times that you see a hook kick, I wish that the thing was higher, to be honest with you. The amount of times that you see a hook kick, you see this, where you go 1, 2, 3, and then basically that third one's a head kick. I wish it was higher, because I'd kick it in the head. Where you're doing the long stances. It's sort of just like synonymous with it. But Crane teaches you how to use that, that hiding of techniques and stuff like that. It teaches you how to use your kicks to do that, basically, and your long strike. Like people like me, like the tall people. It's going to teach you how to, use your best, the best of your abilities. Whereas like some people, they have it good because, they're just like built really strong and stocky and stuff like that. And, it's the sort of thing where they just know how to root themselves and stuff like that. And, if you're tall and you're lanky and stuff like that, it's the sort of thing where balance comes to you, but the thing that doesn't come as easily, that doesn't come as naturally, is that ground rooting, where you have to figure out, oh, how do I root myself and throw somebody that's like this huge guy? Well, you can't, but it takes some time. It takes you really got to know what you're doing, and that's the point. Is some of those things are hidden in those animals. I remember when I was going through Monkey, one of the really fun, rewarding things that came out of learning Monkey, this is gonna be funny. All the ridiculous time I spent doing Monkey, just doing stuff like this, where I'm low on the ground like this, and I have to learn how to, basically just, I'm trying to do it without my sunglasses coming off. Basically just, boom, and get that target. Do you guys want me to kick it? Basically just, the amount of times that I've spent doing that, yet at the same time, that was actually easier for me to learn. Because you have to think about it like this. There's less people to spar against when you get further up in the ranks. So it's sort of like when I was to Monkey, I really didn't have too many people I could spar with to use this stuff on. So I would once in a while use something like that, and I'd be like, all right, that's fine. And then I put somebody like through a wall or something like that, and I'm like, all right, well, I guess it works. I don't need to use that anymore. So it's sort of like you get to a certain point where it's like, well, all right, I like this stuff, but you have to train on your own. You have to practice on your own a lot of times because, it is really hard to find somebody that won't be put through a wall from a monkey kick, One of my favorite ones to do to trick people on was to make them think that I was going to go and do a back leg sweep. I would pretend like I was going to put my hands in the ground and And it was, did you see it? It was a heel hook to the chip. So that was one of my little monkey things that I came up with. Um, and I and I actually did use it in sparring. Worked pretty good. And inevitably, when you do that and you get down here, inevitably, what the point is, they want to come after you. That's sort of the point, you know. So it worked for my monkey. So anyway, trying to think how we would. Okay. Yeah, let's do this. So we talked about chopping. Oh yeah, also with chopping, one thing you have to understand is that any strike is done only correctly if your hand is actually positioned right. And this goes with anything. When you first learn this stuff, you think, oh, it's this. I mean, what am I doing? It's as simple as, no, it's not. It's that. It's not this. You know, it's not this. It's this. So like just like when I was learning to punch in kung fu for the first time, I had to learn, it's not this, it's this, and it's not this, it's this, so a correctly positioned punch, just like when we switch the fist to the center line, when we come off the center line, if I want to still punch correctly, I'm changing the direction. Notice how I'm still punching the same way. I'm just angling my elbow so that way I can still hit the same way. This is why Kung Fu uses things like chops. Boom, boom, boom. Because now, let's say this punch comes in at me, so I block it and go strike down. I'm not doing that because I think this is going to work. I'm doing that to get you to block it. And if you don't, great, it works. But the point is, like, this is how one-dimensional a lot of these fighters are when they get really simplistic with their, oh, that would never work. That's the point. So, whatever strike comes, the idea is, I duck or I block, and then I go into the solar plexus here, wham. Whatever comes next, I'm pretty guarded here, but whatever comes next, I simply react. Yes, there are some things I'm hoping to get. I'm really, really, really hoping he lifts his leg and tries to kick me. Please do that. Because, that's the point. Probably a bunch of people were thinking that. So, like, that's the point, is like, I really want you to, it's there on purpose. Okay? I promise you, if you would kick me, so basically, I'll show you a couple different things. Off the center line here, the kick comes up. Immediately, I'm going to block straight down and elbow the back of the head, and you're just going to drop. Because I'm going to use the momentum from your entire kick in that elbow, and you're just going to drop. Trying to think of what you guys would, because nobody's saying anything. Let's just do a punch, I guess. So I blocked a punch, went down here. You feel so inclined to do the exact same thing again. I don't know why the hell you would. I'm just gonna box you and do it better. So basically, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna take my fists. You guys know about pressure point fighting and stuff like that? That's combined best actually with boxing. So if you take like the concepts of hitting soft tissue and pressure points with hammer strikes and stuff like that, you'll start learning that you'll just deaden somebody's arm and you can't even really move it. So off that first one, I'll do a punch, elbow, or just drag across, double hammer, and that's going to deaden the arm, and then I'm just going to start blasting. So the first one's probably going to be a real heavy boxing punch straight down, and I'm just going to start my Ip Man punches. Okay, so yeah, it's just going to, and then you can just start punching down. You can add the follow-up spin hammer strike if you want, but yeah, it's really is as simple as the. That's how you practice scissor kicks. No, that's how if you want to learn how to practice scissor kicks and you don't got anybody, you got to do them somehow. So basically what I always did is I just grabbed the top of the bag. Jumping side. You can follow it down too. So if you want to follow it down, shit. Jumping knee. Easy stuff. Just doing stuff. Man, nobody's in here. What a shame. How's everyone doing? So anyway, you can do the extensions too. Can you guys see that? Hopefully you guys can see that. Basically, you want to roll back and push yourself up. Shoulder rolls, kind of right like that. These are just drills you guys can do, but you're just going to lead and roll. Okay, right like that. Back away. Should be able to switch shoulders too, very easily. Okay. Okay. Crescent kicks. We talked about this before. You just chamber with the knee, and then snap. You want to, I snap like that. You want to follow through. Right like this. Sorry. I sometimes do like a little fake little slap like that. Cause like I have like, it's sort of like a jab with my feet. No, I'm definitely a kicker. You know, as a boxer would have his lead, you know, with his jab with his punch, you know. He would sort of kind of, you know, lead with that. I definitely if I mean business, just don't, you know, do something about that, you know. Don't let me do that. But yeah, definitely doesn't look like much. Not supposed to. Scoop, leg scoop, and then you just get on top. Yes, we have grappling. A lot of times, what I'll do is I'll come down and actually scoop the heel, and then hit the hip. That's gonna look like this, but to their leg, essentially. I'll be down to that. With chopping, a lot of what I see people making the mistake of thinking is that a chop is done with their hands straight. And it's really not. You're curving it. You're tucking the thumb. It's opposite the. So if you do this, really the main difference is that your fingers will be more like this versus a rich hand will be more like this. Just curling for the rich hand versus the chop, you're not curling. So it's these fingers. Has a lot to do with how you grab in Kung Fu. There's a lot of these things called Manus strikes. So that's why. Because Manus does that. Yep. Right like that. Need to get to finish the combo. I was gonna come around with a the freaking bag fell over before I could finish the combo. So lots of like you'd pull the arm, you'd sort of pull them into the arm down for the manipulation kick, and then do something kind of long. Follow up. That's kind of like your Manus stuff. That's just sort of like a basic combo. A lot of Manus works like that. Then you also have your your Manus that's combined with sort of kind of like long fist style stuff, um, it's gonna work just like the ridge hands and the wing strikes for crane. Um, just with Manus strikes instead. You can also go straight out, like that. Slippery. It's slippery. Yeah, this bag never dried off properly. It got the floor all wet now. Now we'll have to clean it again. Luckily, it's not as bad. But yeah, basically you sort of pull. Point is to make the person think that you're, so there's the strike, you twist, strike. Let's see. So, you guys see me? No, you cannot. A lot of what Kung Fu does pretty well, at least in my opinion, is stuff like this, where you know, you're in a position where you just sort of kind of don't know what to do, but you should. You know, there should be a way out for pretty much everything. Even something as extraneous as across the room. So like my right there. Okay, I'm right here. There's really not much I can do. You know, even with like something pointed at me or something like that, the idea would be to create a scenario where, you know, that person has to essentially decide where you are and can't. So you want to be you want to be able to, you know, so with me, I'm usually more head on and it's less expected. So, you know, with me, it'll be something kind of more like that, where it's a little less expected, but what what I recommend to most people is that you practice drills like runs. Like, if you remember back in gym class, we called them what do we call it? I forget what we call them, but run up, touch a line, run back, run up, touch the next line, run back, stuff like that. Run drills like that where you can, in an instant, be on top of somebody. That's a lot of times how you teach the explosion you would need for a lot of these techniques. But other things too. I'm not going to give that to you necessarily, but there's plenty of other things that you can use. Nobody asked any questions. That's crazy. Sorry, this is the first time doing this, so it's sort of like, what is this? You know? It's sort of like, what is this? This is what I want to do. Yeah, I'm not shy about it. I owned a martial arts school for many years. I have taught martial arts for a long time. Through my instructor, and I was ranked through my instructor, and you know, some other a couple of others that were part of that system too. The original Kung Fu system, and I also trained a bit under the guy that created the system too, for a little. But I had very, very good instructor, great mentor, and exceptional martial artist who gave me my black sash, and he eventually gave me the title of Sifu, and then I took ownership of my own school. But yeah, I spent many, many years just learning, just like everybody else did. Um, I used to, when everybody else was hanging out after school and stuff, I was at martial arts class. You know, I would just go there. Um, you know, people did like football and, you know, wrestling or baseball and whatever, you know, you did in high school. And I did martial arts after school. A lot. I went about 3 times a week, and I went for 3 hours every time. And I did this for years. But yeah, I'd go for 3 hours a night. And a lot of my classes were pretty straightforward. You know, we do just, you know, our forms and techniques and stuff. But we would do an hour or two of just full contact sparring and grappling. And, you know, when I say full contact, we're talking hitting in the head, you know. We're not pulling or anything. We're continuous, you know. It's not like point sparring. It's not like, okay, there's a hit, let's stop. No. It's not how a fight works. No. It's not how you learn. So we wouldn't do that. And yes, we did grappling, real grappling. Pads were constrictive, so a lot of times if we did grappling, we would typically just, you know, do continuous grappling either from standing and then end up on the floor and then keep going until someone taps out or something like that, or just start on the floor and keep going until someone taps out or something like that. And obviously run drills, but you know, real continuous grappling, because, you know, when you're doing the stand-up full contact sparring, obviously you're still wearing pads and stuff, but then when that translates to on the ground, a lot of times those pads get restricted. Yeah. So, yeah, but we did the full contact sparring and grappling for many, many years, and I taught that too. You know, we did it when I taught it too, and so I taught it that way as well. Yeah, also, you know, in addition to, you know, doing all those hours of training of the forms and techniques and the full contact sparring and all that, I also learned, you know, many years of Tai Chi and Tai Chi training and stuff like the internals and the, you know, how to use all that stuff and how it's incorporated into the martial arts and the meditative stuff and all that stuff. So that's why I actually know a lot of the stretching and stuff too, because a lot of that's included in that. But also the weapons. Yeah, we did many hours we did everything. You know, like it was included in the system, and so that's why I taught it too. You know, we have animals where we teach a few of the staff and the sword included in the animal system, but also if somebody wants to learn other you know, weapons and stuff, I just learned a bunch. So that way, if I had a student that wanted to learn nunchucks or something like that, I could show that to them. I had many students want to learn the Pudao and stuff like that. So I learned that, learned the 3 sectional staff. Sorry, not the comma. I did learn the commas, but it didn't really resonate very much with me. And they're okay. Eskrima sticks. That's what they're called, eskrima sticks. Those are cool. Those I like. But the staff, I love staff and sword. Love them. They're very, very useful. And part of that is because they're so basic. There's so many things that can represent either one or the other that you can find anywhere, when you're defending yourself, essentially, that's a lot of times. So that's why they're really good to learn that stuff. It just sort of helps to translate to real life. I'm trying to think. Other than like, yeah, we also did the sparring with the weapons too. That was fun. Um, when I got to, essentially a certain level, there's this sort of thing where eventually it was okay. Now, once in a while, we're gonna have you spar on cinder blocks. You gotta stand on cinder blocks and you gotta spar. Never really did stuff like that. Or if you slipped off, you got injured by the cinder block, and you remembered not to do that. And we also had to spar each other too. But yeah, if you slipped off a cinder block, that was it. You were out, and the next person was up. We did things like that. Yeah, it's pretty hardcore training. We definitely did some very militarized stuff. The push-up barrel roll thing, I forget what they called in the army. You do a push-up. All right, so it's like a line. One person at the end does a roll underneath. Everybody else does a push-up and jumps over. And then the guy at the end switches out, and then this one guy just has to do a barrel roll all the way through the people doing push-ups, and he's got to get to the end. And if somebody messes up, he's got to start over. And so you got to keep it. You got to keep it going. So we used to do that. That was pretty fun. There was some laughs with that. I laughed because there was definitely some laughs with that one. I remember when I was like a teenager, and because my instructor always pushed me, because he saw a lot in me, he always pushed me really hard, and he had me paired up with the biggest, strongest in the whole place. Always, pretty much always. So I remember there's the times where we did the piggyback rides, and of course I got the biggest, strongest guy in the whole. And me, I'm a pretty tall guy as it is, but in high school, nah, I was like 150 maybe in high school. I was a thin guy, and the huge. He's taller than me, bigger than me, and so I had to give him a piggyback ride down the floor, and I couldn't even like make it like. I could barely stand, but I had to run down the floor, and we're doing relay races too. So of course there was a consequence if you were last. Of course we were. I like fell over several times. But I'll tell you what. In a few months, damn it, I could hold that big dude on my back and I could run down that floor. And it worked. It really worked. Oh man, the crazy stuff we did. Yeah, some pretty intense trainings for sure. When I went through the ranks, so um, lots of stories and lots of experiences and lots to pass on. Really, like I said, I had a school for many years. You guys can find content on the channel. From years ago, from when I actually did have the school too. But you can also find recent martial arts content on the channel too, that we did right here. Um, but yeah, you can there's some stuff on the channel from many years ago, um, that we recorded at the school. I recorded at the school, pretty much just did it all by myself. Trying to think if there was anything from like a while back when I had anybody help me. There really wasn't. Um, nah, not really. Um, just lots of little clips of shadow boxing and stuff at the school. A lot of times, what I would do is just set up the camera before classes would start, and then just sort of kind of record myself. Just doing either various forms or techniques or just training in general, shadow boxing, and just training before teaching classes and stuff. And that was those clips. That was how those clips were born. So it's just various snippets and like before classes would begin or something like that of me just training at the school. So you guys can check that out anytime you want, and it's right on the channel. It's some of the earliest content on the channel. We also did a self defense video like forever ago, like a long time ago. Um, Legitimate self defense video, and it's pretty good. It's a pretty good video. I mean, I've even gone back to look at it and see if there's anything that I would have to add or subtract or just modify. Not really. It's pretty good. Um, yeah, obviously anybody can feel free to ask me about that stuff, and if you have any questions, as long as you ask them respectfully and you actually are just legitimately asking a question, um, I won't mind. Like, it's just all about how you phrase it. Like if it's obvious they're coming from a place of doubt, then I really don't care. But if you have a legitimate question, even if it's from a place of doubt, I'll still at least answer it a lot of times too. As long as it's not disrespectful. That's what I'm saying. Um, just respect it. Just because you don't understand it doesn't mean it's not something that you should respect. In fact, a lot of times that's where it starts with just not really understanding. Just misinformation and stuff like that. And we can talk. Do you guys want to talk about with a 1-inch punch? We can talk about that. You want to talk about the 1-inch punch? We can talk about the 1-inch punch if you want. That is something. It's based on those concepts that we've talked about before, where it's relaxed tension. Um, like water. It's sort of. Should I do a video on it, or should I just explain it now? Maybe I should just do a video. I'll tell you guys. Essentially, what it is it's the whole concept is just the fact that when people do a punch, they squeeze their hand too hard. That's it. That's it. That's literally the whole concept. The whole concept is based on the fact that when people do a punch, they squeeze their hand too hard. Thus, they force all the blood out of their hand, making their hand lighter. If you relax, learn how to relax, let the blood into your hand, let it relax. You also learn how to do that better. But yeah, you just practice it. You put your fingers up against something, and you just that's it. It's that easy. It's not hard. It is something most people won't understand because they don't have years and years and years and years of experience standing in low stances, learning footwork, how to shift, how center of gravity is everything when throwing a strike. Yeah, like just there's so many things. Like if you're not properly rooted, that strike doesn't matter. So that's the point. how do you root yourself in like little instances, little moments? How's your footwork that good? And if you remember, that's always what Bruce Lee taught, footwork, 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 which is why so many people make the mistake of thinking Jeet Kune Do is something you can just learn. It was supposed to be something to accelerate Kung Fu martial arts. People that were already well versed in low stances, quick footwork, and things like that, that knew how to use it. You should not just learn Jeet Kune Do. It's not for that. It's to teach you how to literally just essentially run or keep your feet moving while fighting. That's it. The idea is that if you can freaking run in place while fighting, geez, well, you're gonna out tire everyone. You're gonna wear them out. Also, your feet are constantly moving. So guess what? You're constantly shifting. It makes you extremely hard to hit. You just shift and move out of the way. That's what Kung Fu's all about. It's all about footwork, shifting and moving out of the way. So anyway, yes, it's all those things, but it's literally just, that's what it starts with. It's literally just, don't squeeze your hand too hard. That's it. That's what a lot of it is. That's the secret. Big deal. Yeah. That's the point. I want to tell you guys a lot of this stuff. Obviously, like I said, I'm not going to put my system on there for you, but I'm going to help you with some stuff like that. That's the stuff I want to help you guys with. You want to learn how to do the 1-inch punch? Yeah, I'd love to help you with that. And that's the whole point, is like a lot of that is people not understanding that, and just understanding that concept in general, that even boxers, as they get better at things, probably don't realize they're doing that themselves until like later on. They're like, yeah, I guess I am kind of doing that, aren't I? Yeah, that's the point. Eventually, you just realize that you're just relaxing more and more as you do it. Sort of like anything you do in life. When I learned how to play the drums better, I just got more relaxed at it. Well, that's the point. If you're throwing that strike and you're always clenching your fist, you're forcing all the blood out of your hand. Your hand's not very heavy. It's also restricting the muscles to move the hand. The strike isn't going to matter at all. So the point is to learn how to relax and not push the fist too hard. And that's a lot of the secret behind learning the 1-inch punch. But there's more to it. There's a lot more. You really won't get it. Pretty much, you really won't get it unless you spend years probably practicing like the Tai Chi stuff, the relaxed stuff. You have to spend like years doing that stuff. A drill that I used to do, I told you guys this before. I got pretty good at this too. But a drill that I used to do was I used to light a candle. Now this is for just to see how relaxed I was. The idea was to see how quick I could get my hands. So I'd light a candle, set it down, and stand away, and then just do that, and see if I could get it to go out. And I get pretty far away. Yeah, I think it was like between like 7 and 8 feet was my most, and it's insane. Now I know some people have gotten further than that, but somebody saw me do that. They didn't believe it, and I was like, I got some tea candles right here, and I just lit one up, and this did it for him. But yeah, it's literally just that. It's the concept that you're shifting air with your hand, and the more relaxed you are, hey, the quicker that hand's gonna move. I mean, it's as simple as that. You're restricting your own hand. So, so a lot of the stuff that is misconceived. That's why, because those guys just think everything's with force and strength. That's why they won't understand that. But anyway, I'm not throwing shade at it because like I like yeah, I mean like there's like you know, it's not like I have a disrespect for boxing or anything like that. I think a lot of those guys are decent fighters, obviously. Um, but you know, this was something that was, you know, I mean, like a long time ago. This was this helped people win wars and stuff like that. You know, this was made for the front lines. This is what, you know, they used to try to take down people that you know in the wars. You know, a long time ago. Uh, you know, the front lines, the sort of thing where they had horses and people with giant weapons, kind of just hordes of people coming at them. They had to be able to just take them out instantly, several of them. Uh, so that's the point: is understanding that you know, well, that's what this stuff was made for. So it's a no nonsense sort of thing. It's going to be the sort of thing where one move, one maneuver will finish it, and will be precise, and will move to the next. Um, but that's for, you know, reserved for those who are that skilled, that actually you know, learned to that point, essentially, you know, like you know, I got to give lots of credit to those guys like Donnie Yen, Jackie Chan, and um, Tony Jaa, Jet Li, like all those guys that are just really good. um, Kung Fu in its proper form, and not, you know, just well, just what people think of it, you know. There are some movies here and there that come out that like get a little bit ridiculous with the fantasy, and that's partially what kills some of it too. Is that people get a little ridiculous with the fantasy, and they don't know, the people that love it don't know what is and what isn't. You know, they don't get it. Um, I've told people this before. A few decent movies to watch that paint the picture of what. Now, the Ip Man movies use a lot of wire work and stuff later on, and it, you know, it starts getting pretty crazy. The first one was just good. First one, we're fine. After that, because even the first one, there were some times where it's like, mm, you lost me a little bit there, but the fighting generally was really good. Choreography was on point. Um, my thing is like when you're doing a martial arts movie, how believable is it? You know what I mean? Like, and is there a reason these people can do these things where they're being lifted off the ground? Obviously, so that's where I'm at. Is if the martial artist being cast doing it can't do it, why is it in the movie? Um, so that's why I liked a lot of Jackie Chan's like cop movies and stuff like that, because that was pretty cool. Um, the 36th Chamber of Shaolin. 36th Chamber of Shaolin. That's an older sort of martial arts movie, but that is a very accurate depiction of how the Shaolin, the Chinese kung fu started. That's how the monks taught. That's how they lived. That's how it began. So you want to know just how brutal it was? There you go. You want to know how brutal it was in the war side of things? There's a movie called Warlords with Jet Li. Go watch that. Ong Bak was decent, but watch the second one. Ong Bak, the beginning, the second movie. beautiful, on point, excellent martial arts choreography. Loved it. I even loved the cheesy bad guy with a basket on his head. Loved it. I mean, I love the old school cheesiness too, like Bloodsport and all that. Who doesn't? Yeah, I love it too. It's funny, but it's it's not. Don't take it seriously. Very, yeah, very. That's why like I'm picking a few that are like ones that I absolutely recommend. Like I said, 36 Chamber of Shaolin, very accurate to the training methods. Warlords, very accurate to how the wars and stuff a lot of times went down. Ong Bak 2, the beginning. That was also an accurate depiction of how it was for a certain country in a certain area during a certain time. Don't want to talk too much about it. But yeah. And Ip Man. The first one. Only the first one. Those are awesome. All of those are awesome. Those are my picks for like really, really good like actual martial arts movies with decent martial arts actually in them. And not just like a bunch of Hollywood, but like actually good martial arts. It was a nice day. So anyway, the idea was to have you guys here. And like basically, like I said, just do some talking about martial arts. Just explaining theory, all that stuff. And you guys can, like I said, ask me questions. Nobody really came in to ask anything. Somebody came in earlier to type in all caps, and then left and said nothing. But if you guys seriously want to ask anything, feel free. It's not. I'm not gonna be like, we can't, or like I'm gonna tell you how to, like that's the point. You want to know something? That's what I'm here for. But I don't know what your questions are, Now I probably answered many of them. I've been, like I said, I owned a school. I was a martial arts instructor a long time. I would have people come in the door a lot, so I probably kind of know the questions you're going to get asked, or the questions you're going to ask, or the questions you are thinking about asking. Some of those things would obviously be easier to explain if I had a partner to demonstrate on, somebody to actually like throw an attack at me or something. But we'll do the best that we can with with a bag and explanation. It is what it is, we have to deal with what we got. But it's okay, we're gonna do this anyway. I definitely I'm loving how we have this floor all cleaned. It's gonna make my socks blue no matter what I do. So we'll just have to keep using the same ones. But I'm really, really glad we have this floor clean now. But yeah, I mean, over 20 years I spent doing martial art. Over 20 years. Since I was about 11 years old, I've been doing martial arts. It's a long time. a long time. I've been teaching martial arts since I was a teenager. I started teaching as a teenager. It only took me a couple of years at the school I was at to start like basically teaching and stuff. I was not necessarily a natural at application, but a natural at understanding. So yeah, I was a teacher. I became a teacher pretty quickly, and through that, learned application better. And yeah, for sure. I mean, I've been doing it, like I said, over 20 years. I've been teaching since I was a teenager, and I own a martial arts school in my 20s. Many years ago. Many years ago. Many years ago. I've taught probably thousands of people at this point, between the original school and the one that I ended up owning. Um, I've definitely taught, like private classes and stuff like that with the students I kept in contact with over the years. Typically not new clients, just people I've kept in contact with. Or friends. Um, but that's where we're trying to definitely get this stuff. Not necessarily, obviously, on the internet for everybody to duplicate and try to necessarily say, oh, I know kung fu and stuff like that, but to inspire and to help ensure, because like I said, there's a lot of misinformation out there, and I'd like to sort of just help clear some of that up too. um, I've somebody questions it, it's the sort of thing where I can just sort of kind of show you. So I don't need to worry about that. I can just kind of show you, and talk about it. I've done it for a long time, so I really want to help clear up a lot of the misconceptions that I think are often started with sport martial artists, where they just spend a lot of time fighting one type of way. I owned a school. I sparred a lot of people. And I spent many years going through the ranks myself. Even in my instructor days when I owned the school, I sparred a lot of people, especially then too, because they were coming in, obviously trying to challenge me and question me and all kinds of stuff. And I had to have the absolute ability to put them on their ass if I needed to, because the idea is if they'd walk into my school and cause a problem, I can take care of it. And that happened from time to time. And it always, it always ended peacefully, but they, were either, it's the sort of thing where they either respected me for it or they didn't come back. So I many years under my sash. In Kung Fu, we have sashes, not belts. It's the same thing. Originally, the whole sashes and belts weren't something that martial artists necessarily used for rank. Ranking was something that sort of started as a way to kind of help people understand how to get through a system. Once the classes started filling up and martial arts started spreading, and stuff like that, and more people started doing it. It was obvious that it became prevalent to the need to have um, sort of like chapters or whatever in your textbooks. The idea is to have some sort of way of knowing when you look around. Where there's students in classes, you can see who is who, what rank everybody is. Show respect for that person. Oh, that person's more skilled than me. I should probably, you know, uh, you be careful sparring them or something. Like it's the sort of thing where it's just it was just a way of just displaying your skill and where you were at any given time with everybody else in your school and stuff like that. Once it just started, becoming that everybody was learning them, was learning, different martial arts and stuff. But originally sashes were literally just to hold the robes, because it was like the sort of thing where we didn't have these. It would just hold the robes, and a lot of times a sash was also used for certain internal arts and stuff like that. Just certain things. A lot of times, like ripping off part of it to wrap a wound, or using part of it for, even just to wrap an injury or something like that while they're practicing, or something like that. A lot of times, the sashes were just used for things like that, which is why they were sashes and not belts. uh, so, yeah, because the belt really wouldn't work for anything. That's why they switched to belts. That's why that's the more like sort of dollar store sort of generic, like that's the way it looks to somebody that's like a kung fu martial artist. That's the way it looks. um it's trying to think of another way. It's sort of like when you grow up with like a soda that's like a name brand soda, like, and then like the store brand only has like two different kinds of sodas. When you grow up, it's like root beer and cola and maybe Sprite, and that's what the store brand has. But now all these different sodas are popular, like Mountain Dew and Dr. Pepper, Mountain Lightning, and Mr. Pibb, and all that. So that's how I think a lot of times like kung fu, like somebody serious into martial arts looks at that stuff is just sort of like, that's like the dollar store version of, essentially where it came from, because it's true. Um, I don't even really like belts. They're so restrictive. Yeah, I would never. Like when I switched to a sash, I was like, oh my gosh, no wonder. It was like, it's just like even something as basic as the sash, you start appreciating. It's like, these guys aren't martial artists. They'd immediately, like, if they were real martial artists, they immediately realize how the belt actually constricts them, and it's so stupid. It's like bulky. Yeah, it's like the sash. Yeah, absolutely. That's why half the time when I'm training, I'm not even wearing my sash. Yeah, it's just it's that's why it's just absurd. This is something as basic as that. You know what I mean? That's why a lot of us can look at those of us that are serious about the martial arts. Because it's like a pay for a belt game. A lot of times with karate. A lot of times there's like hidden fees. They're like, oh yeah, you're gonna. They tell you you're signed up, but then you pay for testing, and you pay for this and you pay for that. And it wasn't like that with me. That's not how I did things. So it's like a money game. It's all commercialized and stuff, and it's less knowledge. It is. I learned it. I know. Um, I also taught many black belts. second and third degrees and stuff like that, and taekwondo and all that came in, and it's just the sort of thing where they couldn't even stand right. Like, it was the sort of thing where, like, I remember sparring this second degree black belt, and I mean, it was literally as simple as I could kick better than he could. So when he went to do his very simple kick that he didn't know how to do, I simply leg checked it and used the same exact leg to kick his other one off balance, and he just fall over. And it's literally as simple as the fact that, like, you have an entire, like, a lot of times with karate you have an entire style where it's like American karate, not like over there. I'm talking about like American karate. A lot of times you have like an entire studios like trying to teach these people, and they think that they're learning like self-defense and stuff, and they're really not. They're teaching them wrong, and it's so bad. It's just so bad. And this guy was like falling over, and he was like a second degree black belt. He was like falling over and stuff. It's like, man, like, it's one thing if you fall over on purpose. Yeah, I mean, like, so, like earlier when I did the kamikaze attack. Yeah, like that's in my animals. Like, you probably see me do that a lot. It's just my monkey, honestly. I do it a little bit with my dragon too. I've started doing it with my dragon, but that's my monkey combining with that. It's pretty cool. I didn't think it was gonna work that way, but it's pretty cool. But yeah, I'm still figuring. Isn't that? See, this is the point. This. That's why I don't like it when somebody says master. You know, 'cause it's like, well, all right, we refer to them as masters just to have a title, I guess. But like, there really is no mastering, because you can always learn more. You know, you really can. You're always figuring new stuff out. The more you train, the better you get. You can always master more. You know. So anyway, with karate, I've done that before and everything too. So it's not like I'm speaking as, come from somebody that didn't, And as I mentioned before, I knew somebody that went through the kung fu ranks with me too, that went to the same karate place I did too, and she had the exact same opinion. Exact same opinion I did. Exactly. Yeah, I typically form my opinions based on, educated decision. It's like I gather the information, consider everybody else around me. That I don't just do it myself. I really do base that decision based on all the data collected, and that was why I originally wanted to learn it in the first place, was because I was getting really good, and my instructor at the karate studio was just holding me back and telling me I wasn't allowed to learn this or that. I'm like, well, but if I'm really good with this, I'm never going to get any better. I'm just going to... like, even as a kid, I recognized, that was the point. I recognized that I was being held back. I recognized what he was doing. And I left school. I didn't want to be part of that. Plus, this guy, like, I don't know, this guy was weird. This guy, like, apparently when one of the students hit him during a sparring match, yeah, right, dared to hit him during a sparring, yeah, how dare you hit him, yeah, okay. So, like, that's the point. This is how full of himself the instructor was. He's not allowed to get hit. So, like, that's the point. The moment that the student hit him, I guess he gave him a bloody nose, and he ripped all his patches off. That scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. I was like, I don't want to come here anymore. But also, he's held me back, too. It's like, nah. I was a better kicker than half of them. And they weren't showing me to kick someone to learn. Do some stretches. I'm just sort of sitting here. It is a nice day, I tell you what. The clouds are rolling in though. Let me see here. Gotta get going soon anyway though. Appreciate you guys stopping in. Appreciate you guys stopping in. I do. Always appreciate it. Always appreciate it.